All right. And Maris, what is up? What's going on, man? I don't plan on being on very long. I just want to, touched on a little bit of stuff that we talked about, as far as me settling on what I settled on with the H9 and some of the games coming out this week. Um Crap Gamer is crying. I love it. Oh well, he'll be back to damage controlling and lying pretty soon. So I don't know what he's crying about, Skip Bayless, but whatever he's crying about, it won't last long. He'll be back to lying and damage controlling before long. Yo, what's good? It's your boy Lincoln Clay. You know what time it is. Hit the like button, hit the bell icon. Rest will take care of itself. If you're a new subscriber, welcome to the channel. And I realize that Royal Flush is streaming right now. I don't plan to be on very long. I just want to, talk about what I settled on in terms of TV. I was searching for a TV. And Ryu Hayabusa, what's up? And talk a little bit about the PSVR releases coming up this week. So I guess we'll start with that. Coming up this week on the 20th. Boy, PlayStation VR is going to break my head open this week. I'm probably going to end up spending about $100 or close to it based on the stuff that's coming out this week that I'm interested in. Naturally, Beat Saber is coming up on November 20th. And, Brian Paul of PSVR Without Parole is estimating that it's going to cost about $30, which I wouldn't doubt. So it is what it is. That's coming out November 20th. Also coming out November 20th is Boxing Apocalypse. It's another fighting game where you're an alien in a space prison and you got to fight your way out. And naturally, it's got the aspects of a fighting game too, but it's also got the aspects of an arcade, fighter as well. We have shields. I guess you can do counter combos using these shields. Craig Harris, what is up? What is going on, my man? No, this isn't Mass Effect. I'm talking about the good stuff. Also with this game, it looks to have a little bit of a Mortal Kombat aspect to it too, where it looks like you can do some finishing moves. Craig Harris, I don't know what Skip Baylor is saying Crap Gamer is crying about because, I pretty much, just blocked him from my suggested videos feed, because I just don't, I just can't deal with stuff like that. Him, Cody Eastwood, even Kid Smooth, the propaganda and shit like that. I don't know, lying and supporting a company that just ain't providing, just isn't providing content anyway. I don't know. Maybe I'll talk about the supposed shit of, Sony being scared of Microsoft or whatever. I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know. But so anyway, Boxing Apocalypse is coming out November 20th as well. Also on November 20th, we have DLC for Firewall. Looks like there's going to be, I believe there's going to be at least one operator, but I'm sure they're going to have more than just one operator. My guess is the DLC, they're probably going to charge you anywhere from, $10 to $20 for it. My guess is, so they damn well better have more than one operator. My guess is they'll probably have a couple of operators and a couple of maps. So that's going to be coming out November 20th as well. So that's three things right there. Beat Saber, probably at $30. I think Boxing Apocalypse has been confirmed to cost $20. And I'm going to make a guess that the DLC, for Firewall is going to cost anywhere from $10 to $20. So we're looking at a possible $70 right there. And then we also have Titanic VR. Oh yeah, I forgot about the Spider-Man DLC. Yeah. That one I might wait for that one because I haven't finished the original game yet and I haven't bought the first DLC, Craig Harris. So I might wait until all the DLCs have been released and then just buy them all at once. So it'll take me straight into the game. Like when I finish the game, it'll take me straight into the DLC because I don't feel like dealing with any episodic shit. You know what I mean? I don't want to finish the game, then go into the DLC, and then it's a cliffhanger, and then I want them to hurry up and release the next DLC. Support Gaming, what is up? PLO, what is up? It sucks that they won't announce the price for Beat Saber pre-release. Yeah, from what I understand, they won't give us a price until the game actually comes out. So I don't know. Might be a little bit of fuckery. They might charge 40 or 50 bucks for the game. You know, Darksiders 3 coming out also. I've never played any of the Darksider games, so. But yeah, also Titanic VR is coming out this week too, and that's definitely something that I'm going to pick up because even if it's not playable, even if it's an experience, I'm still going to pick it up because you know the Titanic is something that I've been fascinated with, or rather, should I say, the Olympic? Because I've said that before in a previous podcast. After watching a documentary about some documented incidences that took place, I'm convinced that the ship at the bottom of the ocean is not the Titanic. It is the Olympic. It is her sister ship. She was deliberately sunk for insurance. So it was, you know, probably it could be the biggest case of insurance fraud in history to this very day. You know, there's just the theory is there. You know, I've said that before. Beat Saber ended up being 40 bucks. I'll wait for a sale. Yeah, I guess maybe it depends on what kind of music they have for Beat Saber and if they allow you to import your own music to the game. If they allow you to import your own music to the game, then I'll go ahead and pay the 40 bucks for it and just pick whatever songs I want to play. But I would like to think the developers of Beat Saber know that this is a hip hop generation. You know, even rednecks like some form of hip hop, you know, if I can say that word. I don't know. You know, I don't know if that word is racist or not. But in any case, this is a hip hop generation. And just about everybody plays some form of hip hop. They listen to some form of hip hop. I don't care what background you come from. This is a hip hop generation. It may not be the music of choice, but it's there. So with that being said, I would like to think the Beat Saber is going to have at least one song on there that I like. So Christopher Hart, what's up? So yeah, I'll be willing to spend up to 40 bucks for it. But if it's like 60 bucks, yeah, PLO, I'll probably have to wait until there's a sale. So we'll see how that goes. But I'm definitely, but you know, the other three, you know, the boxing apocalypse, the firewall DLC. You say PC version is 20 bucks, and I'm willing to bet they're going to charge us 30. Because you know, I'd imagine a good number of people who own a PlayStation VR don't have VR on the PC. And Sony knows that, so they might go ahead and stroke us a little bit, and they probably will hit us 30 bucks. Craig, you think it's going to be 35? We'll see. We'll see. But hey, after picking up all that stuff, I'll have plenty of time to play it because it's only a 3-day work week, because of Thanksgiving. You know, and no doubt about it, you know, I definitely want to see this Titanic VR. Just like the Apollo mission in VR. It was cool to actually sit in that rocket and see what those astronauts saw. You know, to look out that window and see smoke and fire from that window from when the rocket first took off. You look out the window, you see a sunny sky, and then like 3 minutes later it was pitch black because you were already out in space. Christopher Hart, you were trying to upload footage from Electronauts. Literally being a DJ in VR is too much fun. Yeah, it is. And Craig Harris, the smoke. You know, Craig, I haven't played. You know, maybe we'll see Jack PLO. Yeah, maybe. I mean, that's going to be really freaky if you're still on the ship when it starts to sink. That's going to be freaky. Just seeing the ship in its actual size in VR, because you see things in its actual size in VR. or you see it in the size that they meant you to see it, like the Star Wars Battlefront, you know, um, X-wing fighter mission for PlayStation VR. That's cool to see one of those Star Destroyers in its actual size. That thing looked like it's about the size of a city. You say, "Hey, can I share your PSN?" Yeah, go ahead, type it in the chat. Absolutely. So Christopher Hart types his PSN in the chat. Make sure you guys send him a friend request so you can check him out, make some music, and maybe you can provide us with the entertainment this weekend. Since a lot of us ain't gonna have to work, because after you eat turkey and after you watch the Lions lose on Thanksgiving, how much more is there going to do the rest of the evening after all the football and stuff is over? Ain't going to be much else to do. No club's going to be open. You already ate, so food ain't going to be an issue. You said you wish they would turn that Star Wars VR mission into a full game PLO. I agree. Hey, Craig, that Star Destroyer is huge. Even at the beginning of the VR mission, when you see that Imperial Walker go past you and you look up and see how tall that thing is, at the very least, that thing's about 50 feet tall. Even the X-wing fighters, when you see those things in the movies, it gives you the impression that the X-wing fighters is about the hold on, Christopher. Let me Oh, that's easy. CHH323. All right, I'll send you a friend request. When I send you a friend request, I'll attach a note to it because my PSN name is different from my YouTube name. So I'll attach a note so you know it's me. But yeah, Craig Harris talking about that Star Destroyer. That's the size of Miami. That thing is just huge. Even the X-wings fighters. In the movie, you get the impression that the thing is probably about the size of a car. But when you see that X-wing fighter sitting in front of you, that thing's not little. It's just a small little fighter. In the Star Wars saga, it's just a small little fighter ship, but that thing's not small. So the VR mission is kind of cool. Valkyrie, when you play that and you're sitting inside that launch chute inside of a ship, when you first take off and see how that looks, it looks like something right out of the old Battlestar Galactica that I used to watch when I was a kid. When you come out of that launch chute and then you get out in space and you see all those big ass ships, you're surrounded by all those big ass ships. That's pretty cool too. So, I mean, I don't know. VR makes yeah, yeah, I would say that, Craig. X-wing is about the size of an F-18. Speaking of which, you got motion sickness. The first time I played Valkyrie, yeah, PLO, I did too. Valkyrie, Riggs, a little bit of Resident Evil with the quick turns. And what else made me motion sick? Drive Club even made me motion sick. Drive Club was something that I had to get my VR legs under me, so to speak. That's the term that they use, when you have to build up a tolerance for VR. They call it getting your VR legs underneath you. And I had to get my VR legs underneath me. And even to this day, if I go back and pop in one of those games that made me motion sick, I have to drink, ginger ale before I play it so I don't get motion sick. And Riggs was one of them. The first time I played that shit and that thing jumped so high in the air, and I looked over the side, it was like looking out of the window of out of an airplane, seeing how high I was in the air. It was crazy. It was definitely fucking with me. And even the Batman Arkham VR, I had to build up a tolerance for that because the quick turns were throwing me off. It was like you see something and then you do a quick turn and then it's almost like you gotta refocus, look around and shit like that. So You just said you don't know if anybody noticed, but many VRs are getting better now with motion sickness. But rigs is rough. Yeah, absolutely. And then Christopher Hart, that's one thing I do know that Sony tries to stress to these developers that they basically these games can't cause a lot of motion sickness. That basically they have to find a way to take it out of they have to find a way not for people to get motion sick or keep it to a minimum. So yeah, Sony is definitely, that's one thing, Sony don't play around with. They don't want these VR games, causing people to have motion sick. And I don't blame Sony for feeling that way. There's a VR, there's a YouTuber, his name is Mitsuons. Um he looks black, but I think he's German. Um I think in one of his videos, I think he was talking about how Sony shouldn't, put the clamps on these developers like that and let people, build up a tolerance for these games. Let them experience the motion sickness and build up a tolerance for these games. I can't agree with that because the first time I got motion sick, I damn near threw up. And I was like, man, I don't know if this entertainment is worth all this shit, and then but it was for my son. I bought it for him for Christmas, and I still, and I kept looking for games that wouldn't get me motion sick to play. But at some point I decided that, hey, I gotta start, I gotta toughen up and just buckle down and get past this shit, because otherwise it would have been a waste of $500, because my son wasn't playing it that much after a couple of weeks and I wasn't using it. So the VR probably went through a stretch where it sat around for a month or two before anybody used it. PLO, yeah, the VR leg things is true. I don't get motion sick from Eve anymore. But that first time I wasn't feeling right for hours. It was like I had to take the shit off, man, because my stomach turned upside down. It was like that feeling you get, being on a roller coaster. Said no, while the motion sickness gets reduced, the VR effect is more enjoyable. Yeah, absolutely. And and as Craig, said in one of his previous videos, that according to his source Lou Waffle, games were running at 240 frames per second on the next iteration of the VR that they're working on. And frame rate is one of the biggest reasons why people were be getting motion sick. So I think that plays into it too. I think the smoother the games runs, the less motion sick you get. So I think that comes into play too. So, but it's getting better and better. Especially after you get, it's getting to the point where I almost don't even need, unless I go back and fuck with something like rigs. If I go back and play something like that, then yeah, I got to drink some ginger ale because it won't bother my stomach the way it used to, but it will still mess with me a little bit. So yeah, so I still have to drink ginger ale before messing around with um, rigs. You said you can't wait for Borderlands. I'm sorry, Borderlands 2. I don't know. I'll buy it, maybe not. But what I will say about this is that I've said this before. I'm not gonna lie. A lot of the games in the VR library do look like tech demos. They, really short games. That's why a lot of them cost $20 because a lot of them are really short. But and a lot of people, one of the things people were complaining about, H Player, what's up? One of the things people were complaining about with the PlayStation VR was that there wasn't many AAA titles in there. So I was like, hey, even if they go back and get a game that was 3-4 years old and converted a full-blown AAA game and convert it over to VR, that would be cool because it would give them a true AAA experience. So you didn't get any motion sickness when I tried Ace Combat 7 VR at Comic-Con. Hey, I definitely can't wait for that. And the fact that you can customize your plane, I learned that you can customize your plane. I hope that's a sign that there's going to be a multiplayer. If they do that, wow, I will absolutely love it. I would be playing Ace Combat 7 day and night. But back to the Borderlands thing, talking about the AAA experiences. Like take Skyrim for instance. I do not like Bethesda, but I do think it's cool that at least they brought a game a full-blown AAA game to VR, even if it's an older game. And and I know that I know like Oblivion, I know that game took hours and hours and hours and hours. I never played it, but I watched people play it. I've heard people talk about it. And so I would like to think that Skyrim provides that same thing for you, hours of entertainment, but it's in VR. So even if Skyrim is an older game, it's cool that they brought some kind of AAA game to VR, and that's one of the. Even though I do not like Bethesda, I will take my hat off to them in that aspect. That at least they brought a full blown VR, a full blown AAA game to VR. Same thing with Doom. You said you stole a horse. I assume that you talk. I don't know if you're talking about. I don't know if you're talking about Skyrim or if you're talking about Red Dead Redemption 2. Jamal King, what's up? Support game. I absolutely agree. You definitely looking forward to see what developers will be able to do with VR for the next generation. Absolutely. I think they're going to have enough power at their hands that their limitations only go as far as their imagination. So I definitely can't wait. Same here, Christopher Hart. I never played Skyrim until it came to VR. I still have it. Well, will I play it again? All depends on if I'm still mad at Bethesda. Because I'm still mad at them for trying to strong arm Sony with a game they never intended to be crossplay, with a fucking strategy game. You say you can't wait for Doom Eternal, Jamal King. I don't know. I can't call and say that's a game that would come to VR. Hey, but I will say this. You hearing it come from me first. And I think I said this before, and I will say it again. Do not be surprised if Fallout 76 comes to VR. I don't know if it would come at this generation or if they'll wait until next generation to do it. But do not be surprised if Fallout 76 comes to VR, because Bethesda is showing that they want to keep their games alive by putting VR to it and adding another aspect to the game. You said Doom VFR is fun with the aim controller. I tried it a couple of times, just like training in that training room, but I didn't really get into the game. So I don't know. But you're hearing it from me. I would not be surprised okay, so let's put it this way. I'm going to make a safe bet that within 2 years we'll see Fallout 76 on VR, on PlayStation VR in some capacity. Said you have to switch hands in Doom VFR. Okay. You said PLO, that's the only way you'd pick up Fallout 76. I think truth be told, I understand the Fallout series has been popular, even if they have a history of releasing broken games. But if they fix what was broken with the game and brought it to VR, I think it will sell a few systems. As much as I hate to admit it. Mod Radzi, what is up? If VR can do 240 frames per second, God of War at 120 frames per second should be easy. But it's a rumor. It's a rumor, though. So, hey, it feels intuitive once you move with the left hand on the trigger. All right. PLO, you want Grand Theft Auto 5 in VR so bad. That's a tough one, because we know that Rockstar is counting on them damn shark cards, because they murdering people with those shark cards. I think right now for Rockstar, they would probably feel like doing Grand Theft Auto on VR would probably be more trouble than it's worth. But if Bethesda can do it, I know Rockstar can do it. But the way they feeling right now, they probably still feeling like they raking in plenty of cash with those shark cards. because I don't know how the hell, damn near, what, 6, 7, 8 years later, this game is still always in the top 10 on, on software sales, which is amazing. So I don't think it would happen this generation, but I don't know. I mean, next generation, the only reason why it wouldn't be there is if Rockstar felt like there wasn't a market for it. Yeah, it made 4 to 6 billion. And so the money they make it on, the money that Rockstar is making on shark cards to bring it to VR would probably be extra effort for them. And with only 3 million headsets out there, it may not justify, the money that they think it could bring back. I'm not gonna lie, with only 3 million headsets out there, and then Oculus and combined, Oculus and I think with Oculus and Vive combined, I don't know. I'm just throwing a number out there. Maybe there's about a total of 5 million headsets between the big three. If they were to bring something like that to VR, man, I think they'd be lucky if they were to sell 1 million copies. With that being said, would it be worth the time and money to invest in something like that to put it on VR? Because I will admit that the VR genre is still small enough that crossplay is a big help for VR. For any multiplayer games, for any player versus player games, crossplay is a big help. So, Jamal King, you said My Hero 1's Justice was good. I have no idea what that is. You're playing My Hero 1's Justice in Assassin's Creed. I don't know what this My Hero 1's Justice is. Yeah, there's big crossplay on the PlayStation VR. Star Trek Bridge Crew, I think, was the first game in VR that I played that was crossplay. Jaku Tamasu, what's up? So those, that's those were your PSVR releases for this week. Maybe we can. I don't plan on being on more than another half an hour. Because I wanted to actually have this thing done in about half hour, 45 minutes. So let's talk about the TV that I picked up. And so Clay Fu, Players United, what's up? So I've been looking for a TV now, probably for the past, I don't know, 2-3 weeks. And I felt like this time around, I wanted to buy a real TV. I wanted to buy a Sony. I wanted to buy a Samsung. It doesn't have to be a smart TV because, I don't use those apps on there. Because my my PlayStation, even my Xbox are hardwired. So that, I think I would get better results using those apps from my PlayStation or Xbox. You said, Jaku, is it true that nobody wants to grill some ribs for free smoke? I don't know. Hey, you talking about Xbox ribs? I mean, and Jamal King, you said My Hero 1 Justice is a 3D fighting arena game based on anime show and manga. My Hero Academia. So back to this TV thing. This time around, I wanted to buy, a Samsung or a Sony. And originally, I had a range of, I was looking to spend anywhere from $1,000 to $1,500. But the one stipulation is whatever kind of TV I get, whatever kind of brand I get, the one stipulation was that the TV had to be a 65-inch TV. Lunky, what's up? Yeah, of course, players. Xbox are hungry for some games. So right now, like before I bought this TV, I had a a Hisense H6 series, which was HDR compatible. It's a 65-inch TV. I paid $750 for it last summer. And for a budget 4K TV, I felt like it was an amazing picture. I felt like, this was like the new Vizio, where you getting bang for your buck, where you're getting an amazing picture at a very affordable price. So I was more than happy with that. So truth be told, I don't need a TV, especially with me playing VR as much as I do. I haven't played Spider-Man in weeks. I haven't played God of War in God knows how long. I played, Detroit Become Human. I finished that one and didn't come back to it, So the majority of the games that I was playing was on VR. So I didn't need a new TV, because you don't even got to turn your TV on when you play in VR, because it's all through the headset. Sony just gives you that option of connecting it through the TV, just so if you have anybody in the room, they can see what you're seeing. And with that being said, I didn't need a new TV, but I was going to go ahead and, but I wanted to go ahead and get one anyway. I've been busting my ass working 50 something hours a week for God knows how many months, and I got a good amount of money tucked away. So I said, hell, why not? Let's go ahead and get a new TV, whoop-de-whoop, what the hell? What's up, God of Games? So I was shopping around for TVs, and I had it narrowed down to, first of all, there were some things I had to think about. Like I said, the one thing that was there was a deal breaker was the TV had to be at least 65 inches. Said you get Darksiders 3? Cool. TV had to be 65 inches, and that was pretty much the stipulation. No matter what brand, no matter what it was, it had to be 65 inches. I also had to take into account, how much are you going to use this TV? And it's like, and how much are you willing to spend for what kind of picture you want? And then, so I originally was going to, I was originally going to spend somewhere between $1,000 and $1,500. But then when I got to Best Buy and I started seeing those QLED TVs, on the wall, Samsung's got those QLED TVs, they got the Q6, Q7, Q8, Q9. Naturally, Q9 is the top of the line. Q6 is the bottom of the line. All of them look good, but you could definitely see a difference between the Q6 and the Q9. So now the Q9 was $1,300 for a 65-inch, not the Q9, the Q6. The Q6 was and supposedly this is a Black Friday price, because I guess supposedly this TV sells for $1,700. But the 65-inch Q6F sold for $1,300. And as I was saying, I saw a difference between the Q6 and the Q9. I definitely saw a difference between those two TVs. And I looked at the price of the Q. No, actually, I didn't even look at the price of the Q9. So the Q7, a 65-inch Q7 was $2,000. So I didn't even bother to check the prices of the Q8 and the Q9. So now I'm coming to the conclusion that if I'm going to buy a Samsung TV and I want to get one with a super nice picture, I was going to have to spend no less than $2,000. Don't get me wrong, the Q6 looked great, but you can still see a difference between the Q6 and the Q9. And so now, one thing, I've said this before, and I'll say this again. Hold on, let me read some comments, because I was turning for a second, so I don't, so I can stay on track with what I'm trying to say. But God of Games, you said Sony should make a TV specifically for gaming with all the bells and whistles. They've done that before. They did that with the PS3. They made a game specifically, for the 3D aspect of the games, because if you remember, the PS3 sent an update through that turned the PS3 into a 3D player. And one of the things that was cool about it was, if anybody remembers that game Mortal Storm, Sony made a 3D TV specifically for the PS3, And the way it worked is you have a pair of 3D glasses, and if you and another person was playing Moto Storm on that TV and you're both wearing a pair of 3D glasses, you don't see a split screen. You only see your screen, and and whoever's playing sitting next to you only sees their screen. There was no split screen, but yet you're still sharing the same TV because of the 3D glasses. Sony's done this kind of stuff before. You know, hell, RCA even made an Xbox TV, the first generation. I had one. It came with a special plug to reduce the anti-aliasing, to knock out some of the jaggies to give you a smoother picture. So that's definitely nothing new. But let me get back to the TV thing. So do you ever notice when you go into you said, look, it might as well go all in if you're going to upgrade your TV. Well, when I tell you why I settled on the H9 and, and what I paid for it and that kind of stuff, I don't know. We'll see how you guys feel about that. But if you ever notice when you go into like Best Buy or even Walmart, do you notice they got tons of 4K TVs there on display, but only the Samsung and the Sony TVs are the only TVs that are actually playing videos. Everything else, like the budget 4K TVs, are only showing still photos. They're not showing any videos. And my original thought, when I first noticed that stuff, my original thought process was that they are doing it because they probably didn't want you to see the downgrade in the picture. So my thought was that they're showing you a still photo in the hopes that you'll buy that TV and then you get it home and see that it's a downgraded picture. That was my original thought. But no, I've come to the conclusion that one of the reasons why you see still photos on the cheaper TVs is because if they run the same 4K video through those cheaper TVs that you see on the $2,000 TVs, that depending on how much money you willing to spend, you might not see, a world of difference, so to speak. Yeah, go into Best Buy. Go into Best Buy, Christopher Hart, and you will notice the only TVs that are showing actual like 4K videos are the Samsungs, the Sonys, and the LGs. They're like high-end LGs. All the like the budget TVs, the TCLs, the Hisense, the Insignias, all that shit you won't be seeing. They don't show 4K videos. You only see still photos, or you see like a Best Buy commercial that looks like it's in 720p. All the 4K shit is only shown on the high-end TVs. So after what I saw Saturday, it confirmed what I already suspected. The lower end TVs, the TCLs, the Hisenses and shit like that, they don't run those 4K videos through those TVs. Because if you see how good that video looks on those cheaper TVs, you're going to buy that TCL for $600 instead of that Samsung for $1,500. Depending on what type of person you are. I believe that's why the lower end TVs don't show those 4K videos. Well, this past Saturday, Best Buy let it all hang out. What's a great 4K monitor for a PS4? Shit, your guess is as good as mine because I don't own a 4K monitor and I'm not an expert in that department. I got an AOC 27-inch 1080p monitor for my computer. So I don't plan on playing anything on a monitor. I'm playing shit on a 65-inch TV. So you said, PLO, how many games do I have for my PlayStation VR? Oh, God, I don't even know because Sony's always having them flash sales. You go in there and see shit for $10, and this is, so you're always grabbing shit. He said, I'm getting Astro Bot Rescue Missions PSVR, $20 at GameStop. Good pickup. It's a really good game. So as I was saying this past Saturday, Best Buy let it all hang out. They was running like super crisp 4K videos through all their TVs. And so this takes me back to the Hisense H6 that I have. Like I said, it was a 65-inch H6 that I paid $750 for last summer. So the H9, the Hisense H9 is their top of the line TV. And that sells for $1,000. I think at one point it was like $1,200, but now it's $1,000. So my thinking was that if I wanted to go with the H9, it still wouldn't be a bad pickup. It's only $250 more than what I paid. It's Hisense's high-end TV. It's got the motion blur, 240, that stuff. It's a ULED smart TV. It supports HDR10, whereas the H6 is HDR compatible. So this TV does support HDR10. And so my thinking was that if I wanted to go with this TV, it would be a good pickup, because $1,000, is only half of what I was, willing to spend. And I thought, but that was in the back of my mind. My decision wasn't made at that moment. So what made my mind up was I went to Best Buy this Saturday, and as I said, they were running the 4K super crisp videos through all their TVs, the TCLs, the Hisenses, the Insignias, everything that was hanging on the wall had some kind of super crisp 4K video running through it. Jamal Adams, what is up? And so when Best Buy did that, they confirmed what I suspected. On display, they had a 55-inch Hisense H9. I walked up to that TV and it looked amazing. You got Hisense. It's the Hisense top of the line model, the H9. And the picture was comparable to the QLED series, the bottom of the line, the Q6. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, which people might think I'm crazy for saying this, but with the naked eye, I couldn't really tell a difference. I could tell a little bit of a difference, but not a world of a difference between the Hisense H9, which is their top of the line series, and the Samsung Q6, which is their bottom of the line QLED TV. I saw colors that was comparable to that. I saw a sharpness in the picture that was comparable to that. And it supported HDR10. So I elected to go ahead and go, with the Hisense H9 because their top of the line shit was comparable to that Q6. And it was $300 cheaper. And then you still factor in that I don't need a new TV because of how much I was playing VR. So I didn't need a new TV. So I felt like if I would have spent $2,000 on a TV, I might have kind of been wasting my money, being that I don't play flat screen games that much anymore. The majority of my games, I play are VR games. So that was the move. I went with the 65-inch Hisense H9 Plus, their top of the line model. When I got that TV home and I plugged it up and my son hooked Gears of War 4 up to that TV, he instantly fell in love with it. He totally forgot about the curved TV because he had been wanting me to get a curved TV for a while. And truth be told, I seen what some of those curved TVs look like. And the fact of the matter is, the only one of those only one of those curved TVs that's worth anything is those damn QLED TVs, which you're going to spend a grip for one of them. Saris is great. Are you aware they're starting to implement FreeSync in HD TVs? Truth be told, I'm not even terribly familiar with FreeSync is, you know what I mean? So I don't know, I mean, if it's an added feature, it doesn't have to make me add any shit to it, then it's cool. But if it's a feature they add where I got to go off and buy some kind of fucking adapter that's going to cost $200 or something like that, they can save it. I don't want it. So I don't like when people add shit that forces me to have to go get part two of whatever it is they started and then have to add money to it. So, but yeah, my son had been wanting me to get a curved TV for the longest, and like I said, the only one of those curved TVs that really look really really good are the QLED TVs, which they cost a lot of money. So now that my son saw what this H9 looked like and saw what Gears of War looked like, and I'm not gonna lie, it looked pretty damn good. You know, Gears of War 4 did look amazing on this TV. And I'm sitting here playing God of War right now as we speaking. Man, that shit looks so good. Man, it looks so good. So my son has totally forgot about me getting a curved TV. That like just totally he ain't talking about it no more. Now he wants this Hisense H9 for his bedroom. Now he wants one. I mean, he absolutely fell in love with that TV. He could not quit talking about it. So, but that tells you that, you know, that TV, even if Hisense isn't on the level of a Samsung or something like that, is still not, you know, the 55-inch version of this H9 is still $699. So So if they got a 55-inch TV that costs $700, there's got to be some quality to it. So myself, I love it. I love the TV. Even though I didn't need it, I still love it. Fatal Sherrod, what is up? What's going on, my man? So there you have it. There's my life story about why I went with the H9. I went with the H9. There was several factors. Um, I felt like I was getting a picture that was just as good as the Samsung Q6. I felt it was just as good as the Q6, if not better. And it was $300 less. It supports HDR10, HDR compatible, and some other form of HDR. I forgot. Um, you know, the top of that TV is super thin. That shit is like, I think the top of that TV is only like a half-inch thick, if that. But the TV looks great. It's about 11:30. So when I get done with you guys, I'm gonna play a little bit more of God of War. Then I think I'm gonna switch over to GT Sport so I can see that shit and all this 4K glory, 4K HDR goodness. And I am definitely happy with my purchase. Now, I do spoil my son, you know, and he does want that TV. He does. I did buy him the 50-inch Hisense H6 that is HDR compatible. Um, I don't know if my son realized how lucky he is because his friends at school, some of them aren't even familiar with 4K TVs. So for a 12-year-old kid to have a 50-inch TV, 4K TV with HDR, you know, and he's had this TV for about a year. So he's pretty lucky. So when I was a kid, you know, versus how much money people were making and shit like that, color TVs was really expensive. You know, those big ass floor model TVs that look like a fucking chest freezer. You know, so when I was a kid, the best I could have hoped for was to get like a little, you know, 12, 13-inch black and white TV for my room. That was the best I could have hoped for. So, you know, TVs are definitely, you know, in terms of leaps and bounds, it seems like centuries, you know, of have passed between what TVs looked like when I was a kid and what you can get now. I mean, even the super cheap ass TVs still have a good picture. You said Vampire and Kingdom Come Deliverance are on sale. Hey man, Sony be killing people with them damn sales, man. They always selling shit. So damn cheap up in there. Shit you just can't pass up, because I think I might go ahead and scoop up that For Honor. I've got it on the Xbox One. But because I have the PlayStation Pro, so I can see it in 4K HDR, I'm probably gonna go ahead and scoop it up for $10. So they got me again. PLO, you said with that 2MD VR football update coming soon, which VR games allow you to play versus another player via co-op? I don't know. You know, if you're still talking about this 2MD football, I don't know. Fatal Sherrod, I know you said don't waste your money for Your Honor, because I played it. I played the beta and I did like it. I played, you know, and I bought it for the Xbox. And I think it's a good looking game. I mean, for $10, it would basically be one of those games where, okay, let me go ahead and swing this axe a couple of times and then move on to something else. But it's only $10. You know, there's no way I wouldn't pay more than that for it. That's not to say I will buy it. It's just saying that I'm thinking about it. You know, because they do got some Black Friday shit going on. So with that being said, you know, I don't, you know, it's late. I don't feel like, you know, getting into this, you know, E3 bullshit. I'll talk about that tomorrow or Tuesday before we jump on the round table, what have you. So I think that's gonna go ahead and wrap it up for me. You know, you got the game on Steam and wish I hadn't wasted my money. Okay. But hey, I want to thank everybody for tuning in, listening to my life story about this TV shit. I do think there's gonna be some great Black Friday deals coming up. And when I said it before, and I'll say it again, I'm gonna keep pushing it and pushing it and pushing that narrative. I think for those who have the money, who have $200, better yet, if you got 250, I'm making the push. I'm trying to implore you guys to get VR, because it's another aspect on the PlayStation platform. They already have great exclusives. You can still play third-party games on there. And then the VR option is a very affordable option where you don't need to build a supercomputer to run the shit. Just buy it and plug it into your PlayStation and go. And that's that. You know, there are some great games. You guys see my streams. You know, Astrobot is a great game. Firewall is a great game. You know, and even though it's an old game, you know, Farpoint is a great game. There's a ton of games on there. And they're adding games every week. You know, I swear to God, it seems like 6 or 7 new games gets added to the PlayStation VR library every week. So, I mean, I've lost track of the VR library at the PlayStation Store. There's so many games is there. So I'm imploring all of you, if you've been wanting to try VR and you don't want to spend a lot of money, this is the time to get it. Black Friday, this is the time to get it. And I'm recommending the bundle, the Creed Super Hot bundle, because that has the Move controllers. The Move controllers by themselves sell for $100. The Creed game costs $30, and I think Super Hot costs 25 or $30. So we'll say it costs $30. So just that bundle right there, just the Move controllers, and those games alone are $160. That means you only paid $90 for the VR headset and the camera. And the camera costs $40 separately. That knocks it down to $200. If you break all that shit up, or if you want to put it another way, when the PlayStation VR first came out, the bundle was $500, and it came with VR World. The one that didn't have the bundle that had just the headset and the camera was $400, and it didn't come with any games. And now you getting the bundle, the deluxe shit for $250. So that is my push. I want to see VR grow, and I want to see you guys get VR and get ready for the next generation. Now, granted, if you get the $250 bundle, I'm not gonna lie. If you want to expand your experience, like if you want to play Firewall, the game costs $40. You can play it with the DualShock 4, but the aim controller is a much better experience, and you can get that bundle for $80. That's what it sells for retail. I don't know if that's something that'll be VR, a Black Friday sale or what. Fatal Sherrod, you said you're thinking of getting VR simply for Beat Saber? Hey, that would be cool, because Beat Saber looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to it. So, yeah, I mean, I love VR. I love being immersed. I guess when I was a kid, I was a dreamer. You know what I mean? I watch a movie where, a fighter jet is taking off from an aircraft carrier, and I always wondered what it would be like to be able to sit in the cockpit of a plane. Now you're gonna get to experience that in VR with Ace Combat 7. You know, you know, these battlefields and Call of Duties that we play. I always wondered what it would be like if I was actually like out in the woods and maybe playing paintball or something like that, because that'd be a safe way to actually experience combat situations, combat conditions. Um, Firewall brings that to life, to actually be in there. And I think with Beat Saber, it's going to be a fun way to get some exercise in. And if they allow you to import your own music on the PlayStation version of this game, but I do know they have DLC planned at some point. But if they allow you to import your own music, that would be even better. So, I mean, I think it's going to sell for $30, but I'm willing to pay as much as 40 for it. So I am looking forward to it. I really am. So that on the 20th. So those are the games we got. Beat Saber, Boxing Apocalypse, and the Firewall DLC. So right there. And then 2 days later, you got the Titanic in VR. So it's going to be a great week for VR for me. Little pricey, little bit expensive, but I'm really looking forward to it. So also, I did say that, I did want to remind everybody, I did say that when, Beat Saber, when I get hold of those games, I will stream them. I'll even go back to streaming Firewall, just so you guys can see what the DLC looks like. Yeah, I think so. Players United. I think what's going to happen with Sony, if I stick to my prediction that the PlayStation 5 is going to come out in November of 2019, I think we should get some kind of, word from Sony, whether it's a reveal, a public reveal, because I've heard some shit about developers attending some kind of event where they had to sign a non-disclosure agreement, and I guess the PS5 or development kits or whatever the case may be was unveiled to them, what have you. I don't know what the situation is with that, but in terms of unveiling the game, the console to the public, I would like to think that we'll get something by March or April. And then I think Sony's going to wait until after E3, until all that hype and all that shit is settled down before they show their own stuff. Because if they reveal, because if they show what the PS5 is going to look like, say in April, let's say if they show the PS5 in April and whatever games is going to come with it, the hype is only going to last as long until E3 shows up. Once E3 shows up, the hype is, everybody's going to forget about the PS5 until Sony shows something again. So I think, Sony's going to wait until after E3, maybe July or August before they really show us what's going on, give us a price, give a release date, all that kind of shit. I think that's when we're going to find out everything by August. So if I'm right, great. If I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. It ain't the end of the world, but I'm still predicting November 2019. And I just think Sony's just I think they're just dotting their I's and crossing the T's and getting everything ready. And so I just think what they got planned is I think what they have planned for next year is a higher priority than E3. Because believe me, people saying that Sony ain't got nothing to show is bullshit. They can shut the fuck up with that. Because think about it. For those who think that the PS5 is coming out in 2020, don't you think they would have something to show in 2019? They don't want to tip their hand yet. They don't want to show what they have lined up for the PS5 yet. They could show you something in 2019. They could show you VR games. They could take the same route that Microsoft did and show you an E3 full of third-party games. No, they're getting everything ready for the PS5. So I don't buy that shit about them not having anything to show. They saying the majority of developers already got dev kits for the PS5. People already been working on shit for over a year for the PS5. So they got shit to show. So I don't even buy that. So I just think Sony, I think it's coming down to one of two things, that whatever they have to show, it'll probably be ready to go after E3, or they just want to show it on their own stage, on their own time, and then it'll be their stage by themselves to not have to share with anybody. So I don't know, but anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. Thanks for watching, everybody. I've been on for about an hour, and I saw your video. What's going on with your video? Hopefully, I don't know how the game is going to launch, but hopefully, maybe Beat Saber has something like where maybe you can do a dual battle like you did on Guitar Hero or something. That'd be cool if they had like a player versus player battle or something like that and make it crossplay. That would be cool, but we'll see. But that's it. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up. Because I normally try to be in bed by midnight, which still ain't enough sleep. But I want to stay up for about another hour, get some gaming in, shit like that. Maybe even try to catch a couple of YouTube videos before I go to bed. So that's going to go ahead and do it for me. Thanks for hanging out in Wakanda in these late hours. I really appreciate it. Give it a like. Lock the door on your way out. And I will holler at y'all later. Y'all have a good one.